What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. I've been wanting to do these kind of videos for a while. However, you know what? Results haven't been going our way. However, this time there's lots to talk about. New formations, new tactics, new players, and new ways of thinking about games and game management. I'm really excited to bring you into this. But we're going to talk about, again, certain players you want to mention, you probably think of. Kelechi Ihaenacho, Tete, Christensen. We're going to talk about Dennis Praet and his position there as well. We're going to talk about the change of formation that happened at 83 minutes as well. But apart from that, let's get into it. So we all saw the lineup. Again, there was 3 new signings. All of them started. Christensen as the left back. Harry Souttar comes in for the ill Daniel Amate. And Tete comes into that right wing position, which is fantastic. In this formation, we kind of didn't play the 4-2-3-1. It was more a 4-3-3. And we'll see we'll have a look at the analysis where we talk about Kelechi Ihaenacho and James Maddison and the roles they played in the pitch as well. It works fantastically, but we have to be honest, it's not exactly the formation that Leicester City played. Let's look at the average position for the first 60 to 70 minutes. So as we can see from the heat map here, we can see the formation. It's pretty much, there's certain things I want to pick up on. First of all, your 2 there. So Harry Souttar there, Walt Fast here as your 2. Then you've got Timothy Castagna and Christensen playing this kind of inverted fullbacks that Rodgers likes to play, and what we were trying to play before Ricardo got injured. Then you've got your 2 pivots here. So KDH, Tillemans taking those kind of the 2 centre-back, the centre CDM roles, double pivot, working really nicely together. So essentially you got your 4 here, you got your 2 here, and you've got a 4 up front. Tete was, again, coming back and doing a good amount of defensive work. However, his average positioning was behind Barnes, which I was really surprised at when we looked at this. And this is the 2 I want to concentrate on. Maddison and Barnes taking up the same position. So obviously with Maddison coming up ahead and Ihaenacho, and how that worked in terms of pressing and why them 2 worked so well but didn't get in each other's way, because you see by the average heat map, they're pretty much in each other's way. I want to go into some of the goals and how these positions worked, but essentially we were playing almost a 4-4-2, more of a 4-2-4. Going forward, we had all of this ability, and when these players go forward, again, James Maddison kind of drops in deep, but you've got the likes of Yuri Tillemans and Dewsbury Hall to clear up that backlock as well. So again, that's the average formation, which is very different to how it looks for the 4-3-3. So just before we get into the goals, I just want to show you something as well. Something we might have forgotten. Aston Villa were on top for the majority of the game, even though I think they had more possession overall. You can see the momentum was with them for large parts of the game, even though we won 4-2. So even that's the case, there was some last-ditch defending. There was some stuff we're definitely going to touch on in terms of improvements and defensive improvements, why that was the case, and how Brendan Rodgers went and achieved that later on. But just something to remember, they were on top for the majority of the time. So with that formation, it was quite attacking, and at times we lacked that number 6. That person's a CDM that Samore or Wilfred Ndidi or Napoli's Mendy played later on in the game, which we'll look at a little bit later. We did lack that, and at times Aston Villa really exposed that, getting in behind and just exposing that defence because we were so trying to press higher up the pitch. It's something that I want to touch on later on, but it's just something to mention because it is important that by better teams, and Aston Villa are a great team, but they're in the progress of transitioning into a great team at the moment, we will be severely punished if we don't play a CDM. But let's get into the first goal analysis. So we're going to look at the first goal and what happened there. So bearing in mind, Leicester go behind, and we know from the mentality of Leicester City that at times when we go behind, heads drop, here we go. I think in 2020, we didn't win from going a goal behind, but I'm really glad to see in this case that we actually did. So it's again the first time in pretty much over a year now. Martinez plays it out for a back, and Kamara gets into loads of trouble. What's important to point out here? Maddison playing literally alongside Ihaenacho, Dewsbury Hall with the press, who ends up. So these 3 players were involved in the goal from Martinez's position. You can also see here that again further back when we look to the average positioning, Tete is here as well. But you can see just from, even though they've got the ball and it's with their goalkeeper, we've still got that pressing, that desire. And you've got even Harvey Barnes isn't in the picture at the moment, but you've got the likes of James Maddison up high, Kieran Dewsbury all in here, and then Kelechi Ihaenacho waiting to pounce as well, which we know he does really well. So just a couple of seconds later, the ball has been passed to Kamara. Kamara's getting pressured by KDH again. Great work from him. And it's something that needs to be measured more. They pushed as a unit. When we pressed before, and it seemed like it was an individual battle and everybody wasn't quite in the same line. Even after going a goal down, we didn't drop our heads. And the fact is here, we pressed as a unit. So it was from KDH comes in here. Kelechi goes into the center spot, which we know he likes to do. And Maddison comes over into this left position, which is quite, again, a good tactic to try and squeeze the position of Kamara, which leads to the goal. So again, after a little bit of tossing and turning, you can see that again, Kamara's had the ball dispossessed. Kelechi then goes over him, and this is where Maddison slots it into the back of the net. So again, Martinez getting beat twice in this position. But something else to mention, Tete getting in a forward position. Harvey Barnes is now in this picture as well. And again, this ball gets put away. But as you can see, even from going forward, obviously all of these forward players want to be part of the goal. But we're coming together as a unit. They're getting in good position. They're not only getting in each other's way. And as silly as that sounds, it's something we've seen too much where they're just not talking to each other. At least when Maddison puts this away, they're all in a good position. And if say he doesn't, he's got the options of Tete on one side, potentially Harvey Barnes on the overlap as well, which is a bit of a weird one. But it shows that within these positions, we've got a good squad that understands how they work. And bearing in mind, Tete is just coming into this team. Christensen, Suter as well, just coming into the team. The more they play together, the better they'll get, the more they'll gel. And I'm really looking forward to us playing against Tottenham in the next game. Now on to the second goal. As we can see here, again, we are 2-1 down at this point. But again, heads don't drop. It's important to mention because we've seen our mentality shrink so many times. KDH gets the ball, and this is something I want to mention because it's not mentioned enough. This pass all the way over to Harvey Barnes, who I don't think is in the picture as of yet, was sublime. If you see the ball in real time, I remember noting it down in my notes. I didn't manage to mention it in post-match. This ball from KDH sets up the pass, which eventually leads to the goal, but it's something I really want to mention. This ball across was inch perfect, completely splitting, going from one side to the other. And it's something that I kind of knew Kieran Dewsbury-Hall does, but to this level, I just want to highlight this, how impressive this pass was. I just want to emphasize this switch again. Kieran Dewsbury-Hall on the outside hits it over to Harvey Barnes for this left-hand side. Again, look how many plays he took out. Harvey Barnes, he sees the vision and picks out the pass. This is what something I'd expect from Samore or even from Yuri Tillemans, but KDH deserves praise for this pass. So again, for the second ball, again, the ball has come round to Harvey Barnes, whipped in across, didn't quite work out, comes back. Christensen then passes it over to Barnes. And again, Christensen, just something to look at. He's building this nice relationship and he's coming on the inside. Again, allows Barnes to come. And I'm just looking at the player positions. Tillemans kind of holding back in that CDM position. KDH, again, looking where the people are. Maddison picking up that number 10 position. At the moment, Ihaenacho is offside and Tete there, but they're getting in the positions to score the goals. And it's something that we looked at before with Tete, where he's coming on the outside, he's drifted and then putting it across, and nobody was there for it. In this case, we've got the players in for it. As silly as it sounds, and also Castagna picking up a nice position there as well. Again, this leads to the goal because one thing as well, we mentioned the KDH pass. This pass on from the right foot of Harvey Barnes is sublime. So again, as this ball comes in, numbers in the box. Maddison taking up, again, this position here. Kelechi Ihaenacho, again, leaving. Tyro Mings should be doing a lot better and sticking to his man. I don't know why he's not. And Konza's lost as well. Tete's also there at the back post. Ihaenacho, beautiful ball from the outside of his foot. Lines it up so brilliantly. Then Ihaenacho sticks it away. Truly deserved of his goal as well. We'll look at the Ihaenacho analysis for the next goal as well. Just to highlight something from the second goal, so you've got Christensen, you've got Tete, and you've got Ihaenacho. Again, three, in my opinion, the best players on the pitch. It was a really good performance for these three as well, specifically for the second goal. The togetherness of this team is there. It's so crazy. Again, Christensen, 20 years old. We'll get into some analysis, but quality. Tete, for the second goal, celebrating like he scored himself. It was fantastic to see. And it's something that we've not seen, that union together. And it just showed on the pitch. So it starts from, again, Aston Villa in possession. We can see that, again, I think it's Konza that's got the ball at the moment. But this way, you've seen the two up front. You've got Maddison here. You've got Ihaenacho here. And again, KDH in that middle position. There's your two there. Harvey Barnes taking up this kind of middle ground. So there's your kind of 4-4-2 defensively, and allows Maddison to get in these creative positions going forward. But again, Tete, you watch his position here, because considering this is his goal as well. And here's the next screenshot. Kamara had a game to forget, to be honest. Really good from James Maddison tracking back, again, takes the ball off him, gives it to Kelechi Ihaenacho, but you can see from the positions where Tete starts off from, so low in the pitch, considering again Harvey Barnes is higher in the pitch, and Tete was doing some of the defensive work, which on hindsight I did criticize him for not doing enough of, but again, when it came to it, he was getting in the great positions. So the ball was won here. Again, we are going forward in numbers. Kelechi Ihaenacho gets it from Youri Tielemans. And again, who's with him? We know Iheanacho doesn't work in top on his own. But now we've got wingers and runners off him in Tete and Barnes. This is a great example of this ball from Iheanacho instinctively looking for the run of Tete and knows where he's going to go. And the best thing is, this is only after training for like a week. When this develops, we're hopefully going to see a different side to him as well. And this Tete goal and this pass in behind, this pass here for Tete to run onto was just sublime. So just a little bit over, we can see that Tete is again through on goal. Mings again just didn't pick him up at all. But it was again an Aston Villa mistake, but Leicester City were that good at the same time, especially from an offensive point of view. Rounds the keeper into the net. Happy days for Leicester City for the third goal. And again, the debutant, Tete, with a goal, but it was of his own making. He saw the opportunity and so did Kelechi Iheanacho, so credit to both of them. And at this moment in time, I'm pretty sure that this is the 2 goals and 1 assist that they had. Just show you the stats again after the third goal. Assist, goal, assist. Minute 12, minute 41, minute 45. If he would have been kept on longer, I think he would have got more. These statistics are insane. And again, shout out to Foss Hub. Make sure you go and follow them. Great transfer news as well. But credit to Iheanacho, man. What a player. We've known Iheanacho is a player for a while, but we've always thought he needed a partner. And that's coming with the rhetoric from myself, from other people. We didn't think that he needed other wingers off him. We've seen it with Harvey Barnes, but now that equilibrium of Tete that allows him to drop into that space. And as we saw from the analysis, it allows Maddison to kind of have this free role, either up top, which we've seen KDH do with Daka sometimes, or also letting him have this free role and let him do what he needs to do. Let him pull the strings as he used to do on the right-hand side. Tete allows Maddison to pick up those central positions and really work the ball and pick out spots that we wouldn't usually find if he was stuck out on the right wing or the inside right as before. And if it weren't for his antics, Kelechi could have got one more. This position, again, coming in from Youri Tielemans. Great pass, by the way. I'm not going to slander Youri too much, but he, again, in this game, the vital pass is what we need. This was the 46th minute, as it says on the screen, that we nearly got a goal from. Could have had 2, and he probably should have had 2. It was one of those performances from Iheanacho where, for the majority of the time, it was a very Iheanacho performance. Fouling players, back to goal, me going, well, what did I do? Just taking a player out, unnecessary, clumsy challenge. First touch sometimes wasn't great. And then he comes up with absolute bit of beauty for the goal and also to set up the 2 goals as well. What a machine, man. And I think we found a formation that works pretty well for him. With that as well, when we play in the front 3 and when we are in a defensive form, we tend to switch to a 4-4-2 with KDH and Tielemans as the holding. And Tete comes into that right wing position. A few of the times he was taking up really nice, and it was nice to see him. He's got good feet. And speaking of first touches, Tete's first touch, I don't have any video of it. Whew! Tete's first touch is immaculate. It's clean. And I love to see it. Just the way that he's able to wiggle past players, as well as cutting on the right, going the right, cutting on the right, but also in tight spaces, very Lookman-esque. Get the ball, know what to do, know how to get out of a tight space. And at the end, we'll probably look at later, he was taking on 2 men at a time. So something I want to point out before we go into other bits of analysis, just want to take a picture of this, which is actually the picture before the corner. As you can see, the corner is just about to be taken here. This is about 70 minutes or so. Again, I'm wondering how does Suter fit in? And it looks like we're playing a man marking system. So again, number 11, I think that's Watkins on Youri Tielemans. Number 4, Konza, I think is on Jamie Vardy. And my only issue with this is that we've got everybody back, bar a couple of players. I think they are Dennis Praet and Tete, again, in very advanced positions. So if we are going to break out, Mendy, because we made some substitutions, and we'll look at the formation change later on. As it comes in, we are playing a man-to-man system. I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. We've tried zonal and it's not worked. But in this case, we just about get away with it. what was impressive as well is that Suter was good from defensive positions. I don't think we saw the best out of him. I think there's a lot more good stuff to come. However, he's that physical presence that we need in the box that is going to trouble a lot of defenders and a lot of attackers, especially from, again, defending set piece in this case and also attacking them. I didn't see that much attacking wise, and I don't have the evidence to show you, but just thought it was worth noting. Just before I show you the fourth goal, I want to show you how the formation changed. Leicester City did change a little bit, but just before Christian went off, Dennis Praet came on, Mendy came on, and we were looking at a bit more compact. Jimmy Vardy came on as well. So triple substitution, which we don't see too often with Brendan Rodgers, even when we are ahead 3-2 at this point. It did change the formation. I'll show you the formation that we actually played. So it was this kind of formation. Again, so it was Dennis Praet came on, Mendy came on, Tielemans. We'll get into the defensive stuff later on, but there was an emphasis on this front five. Harvey Barnes was taking up these positions in this left-hand side and was taking more of an inwards position. Jamie Vardy was then cast out onto the left and Dennis Praet on the right. So just to show you again, apologies as big I can get it, this was Jamie Vardy's average position when he came on. And on the right, you can see Dennis Praet. So as you can see, they played quite similarly, quite deep, but they both took up either wing position to really cement us in this. So the ball was won here by Harvey Barnes. And again, he's obviously looking. You can see from what we were just talking about, Dennis Praet's on that right-hand side and Jamie Vardy's on the left, making runs around that right. He wasn't going straight towards goal. He was going to all that right-hand side. And this is where we end up getting the goal from. As you can see from this position, Dennis Praet's 3-on-1 pretty much. And he breaks into the goal, coming into that central position where he ends up getting the goal. Then you can see here, there was a mistake by, I forgot what his name on, the left back that came on. And then it ends up Martinez again in no man's land. Pratt puts it away, 4-2, happy days, Leicester City. And then Brendan Rodgers does something that he doesn't usually do. So we mentioned before, Mendy came on, Pratt came on, and Jamie Vardy came on. But also we changed formations at 4-2 as well. So after that, there was a change by Brendan Rodgers where we went to a 3-5-2 or like a 5-3-2 or like leaving Jamie Vardy up on his own. What this allowed us to do is have 5 in the midfield and 3 at the back. So Mendy was that sitting pivot where, again, he can just deal with the CDM role, that number 6, which kind of slowed the game out and allows us to play the football we need to play. Luke Thomas came on for Christensen, partly because he's new. Christensen, and also he had a fantastic game. Again, I might go into detail a little bit later, but Luke Thomas came in to secure that position. Söyüncü came on as well in place of Tete, which again kind of changed the formation a little bit. So there was a back 5. And on the right-hand side, I must say that Suter didn't disappoint. It's something that he's used to play either in the centre of back 5 or on that right-hand side. As a right-footed player, that works best for him, but fast playing in that middle position. And that way there was a really nice compact formation, which I'll show you the average position once the subs came on. So again, this is with adjusted for subs as well. As we can see, again, Jamie Vardy took up that middle position, but wasn't darting towards goal. We were more concentrating on, you're looking at the likes of Tielemans, Mendy, and Praet on that side. Again, Praet was using more of that right-hand side. We looked at the heat map. Castagna was staying relatively still. And number 4, again, with Luke Thomas as well, it looks like Fast coming more into the middle, Söyüncü's coming into that left centre-back position, and Luke Thomas was coming into that left wing-back position. But we're playing more as a left-back with 3 central defenders. And this is something we've been crying out for a long time, game management. After that point, we managed the game out beautifully. Compared to, you look at the likes of when we were talking in the last game against Brighton, where we just feel like we were hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. We managed the game out well. Brendan Rodgers changed the 3 at the back when it was necessary. Wasn't inviting pressure. Everybody was comfortable with what they were doing. And it was brilliant to see. We'll look at some of the statistics that I think are useful in this game as well. So again, to all of these statistics and things, I'll leave a link in the description as well. But as we can see here from this map, we've got goalkeeper, right centre back, right back, and right mid. So it looks like there was quite a few balls that were coming to Tete via Castagna and via Suter as well, which is a good sign to see. You can see the 2 holding midfielders there. Again, it's something that I would like to see. Again, there's 2 the right, left, and centre mid, but they were working as kind of a double pivot going forward. And I think, again, it's just something to highlight the strength from the goalkeeper to that right midfield position. because we've been lacking that right presence and we've had Maddison cut in all the time, it allows him to go and do what he needs to do up front pretty much, and drifting into that number 10 position, winning balls back, which we normally associate with Perez. Giving that right wing allows him to go and do what he needs to do, and Tete to pick up the one-on-one, and again later on in the game, a 2-on-1. Something I haven't mentioned, because again I don't have the screenshots to do it as well, I'll leave a link to Tacticals below, looking at Christensen and Tete in more detail, and Christensen giving the options of that left wing to either A, on the overlap, which he didn't do too much, but B, come into kind of that just before Harvey Barnes and whipping balls in, finding progressive passes. And I think he was dispossessed once in the first, I think, 18 minutes, which Fast bailed him out of. But overall, really, really good performance, really solid. And it reminds me of Timothy Castagna, but with a better cross, which is phenomenal. For somebody that's 20 years old, he plays so above his level. It's above his age, sorry. It's great. So 4-2, our first win in the Premier League of 2023. Good, feeling good. Everybody's come in and worked well. Tete's come in. Sutar, there is room for improvement, but I'm happy with what he was doing so far. Christensen's looking fantastic and is building great relationships with the team. And overall, I'm really happy. Just a couple of things to touch on. Again, I'll leave a link to 2 of the great piece of analysis if you're not fed up of analysis so far. Tactica, make sure you go and check out his one. It'll be the top link. And Dominic Wells, who you probably, if you've listened previously to Radio Leicester, he has some great segments on there, but I'll leave a link to his for this match as well. Both fantastic resources on Twitter to have a look at as well. It's still early. There were still problems, and we mentioned the lack of the number 6 and how that hurt Leicester, especially playing with the 4-4-2 that Unai Emery played against. We kind of got away with it, but we can't do it with bigger teams going forward. And there's still improvements to be made, which is why Leicester fans are so excited, considering we're on the downward slope. This win and this momentum is hopefully going to carry us through. Now, going forward, what are we going to do? We're going to see probably the likes of, especially with a strong attacking team, we're going to see the likes of Mendy probably come into play, maybe even drop Dewsbury Hall. It's a really golden problem to have, because obviously Tielemans is there. Maybe put Tielemans in if you need to, KDH, if you need a more dominant midfield as well. Samora should be fit soon as well. But there's still improvements to be made. I'm really happy with the way Leicester won this. Let me know of your thoughts of these kind of tactical analysis down in the comments section below. I'll try and leave as many links to what I found down below. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in the next video. So goodbye.